Ranked number 1. That's what we're all dreaming of. You've probably seen countless draft variations over the past week since FPL launched, but is this the best possible lineup in the game to get you up to that top spot? Let's check it out. Before we get started, let's aim for 10 likes on the video, and if you're enjoying the content, please consider subscribing and hit the bell so you're notified when I upload. Let's kick it off with the goalkeepers and defenders. It's not looking like we've got a starting 4 million goalkeeper this season, which is unfortunate. Pairing a 4.5 with a starting 4 would be ideal and my preferred option, but it doesn't look like that was possible this time. I think a great option would be to pair Chelsea's Sanchez with Brentford's Flekken, both 4.5. It's looking like Sanchez will be the starting goalkeeper for Chelsea, and they start the season with some really nice fixtures up to game week 8, including Wolves, Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton and Forest. They do have City in game week 1, so I'd start Flekken against Palace for that one. From game week 2 to 7, Sanchez will be the best choice. You could go Flekken against Southampton in game week 3, but that will be a decision based on how each team is doing at the time. Game week 8 is the only tricky one, with the teams playing Man United and Liverpool. Then from game week 9 to 11, back to Flekken, as Chelsea's fixtures swing. The pair could quite easily take you to your first wildcard, always a bonus when you don't have to use transfers on goalkeepers. The defence gives you so much flexibility going with these price points, and I'll talk about the rotation options later, so make sure to stick around. Guardiola is the premium at 6 million. Him and Trent scored almost identically last season, whilst playing pretty similar minutes. The price difference of 1 million can be spent elsewhere if you go for Guardiola as well, and this draft has spent that full 100 million. Guardiola ended last season spectacularly, playing in a really attacking position for City team looking to secure their 4th title in a row. Sorry for reminding everyone of that. He scored all of his 4 goals and got both of his assists in the last 7 weeks, as I'm sure you'll remember if you owned him at the time. He probably boosted your rank quite a bit. He's the second most picked defender behind Saliba, with an ownership of 32.4% at the time of recording, so it looks like quite a few managers are hoping he's going to kick off the season like he finished the last. Mykolenko has been in most if not all of my drafts so far. Everton really well defensively last season, leading to a rise in both Branthwaite and Tarkowski's prices, but not Mykolenko. He stayed at 4.5 despite the fact he actually had a better points per 90 than the other two. If you want to know more about him, check out my last video linked here on the best budget defenders where I go back into a lot more detail. Munoz is probably the best choice of the Crystal Palace defenders and the reason why I stayed away from the Palace keepers. In my opinion, it's wise to spread your defensive assets across different teams. You don't want to be too reliant on one specific defence. He joined Palace in January last year and went on to start all of their last 16 games, getting 4 assists along the way. He's definitely the most attacking of the Palace defenders, which is why he cost an extra 0.5 compared to his teammates Anderson and Guehi, and he's been scoring from Colombia in the Copa America, netting twice in the tournament. In the other defensive spots, we've got Robinson and Harwood Bellis. Bellis is the most popular £4 million defender to go out for this season, and I would say you need at least one player at this price point to build the best drafts. He started 41 games last season for Southampton, so he's nailed and he's already scored in pre-season. Robinson also started 37 of 38 games last season and had some great attacking returns with 6 assists. They are playing 2 of the promoted teams in the first 5, so great rotations with Mykolenko and Munoz. Let's have a look at some of those potential rotations. Most game weeks, you'll be looking at to optimise a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2 formation, so these rotations will be based on 3 at the back. As you can tell from the lineup, you'd go with Munoz and Mykolenko in game week 1, as they're playing Brentford and Brighton, leaving Robinson out against Manchester United. Game week 2, you'd drop Mykolenko as they play Spurs, starting Munoz and Robertson, 2 home games against West Ham and Leicester. Game week 3, Munoz is benched against Chelsea, and you pair Mykolenko against Bournemouth with Robertson against Ipswich. Game week 4, Munoz comes back in for Mykolenko as Palace are playing Leicester and Everton are playing Villa. You'd more likely play Robertson against West Ham with Munoz for this one. Game week 5, you have Palace playing Man United and Fulham playing Newcastle, so for me this is the perfect week to start Harwood Bellis as they have Ipswich and pair him with Mykolenko who's playing Leicester. Game week 6, take your pick. All 4 defenders, not including Guardiola, have relatively nice fixtures. You'd obviously look to play Guardiola every week regardless of his fixture. Moving on to the midfielders, and we've got Salah. One of the best FPL assets ever, and a great option for game week 1 captaincy, playing one of the promoted teams, Ipswich. He's pricey at 12.5, but you know what you're getting. He's scored over 200 points in every season as a Liverpool player, going back to the 2017-18 season, with 30 attacking returns last season, 18 goals and 12 assists. We're yet to see how Slot will deploy him yet. Will it be high and wide or inside forward? Whichever, I think goals are certain, and I just can't look away from him right now. To go with Salah, we've got Nkunku, Eze, and the 2 Villa boys in Bailey and Rodgers. There's so many great midfielders at the lower price points, and I think you've got to use them to make the best teams. The only midfielder above 7 million is Salah, and there's a Norwegian reason for that we'll talk about later. Chelsea's fixtures outside of game week 1 are up there with the best in the league, and if you really don't think he'll perform against the champions, you can bench Nkunku and double up on the Villa boys, putting Rodgers in. He has been scoring in pre-season though, and we know what he's capable of, looking at his time in Germany. If he can stay fit, a great pick. 6.5 and could be a bargain if he's the Chelsea mid you want to go for, saving you 4 million if you go for him over Palmer. Bailey was another player finishing the season with great form, scoring 10 goals and assisting 11 goals last season. He's not always guaranteed 90 minutes, but look for his minutes to go up with Diaby's departure. He had a massive 6.43 points per 90 last season, actually outscoring his teammate Watkins, who had 6.37. Eze is the next to make the team. He is by far Palace's best and most attacking player, and with Elise leaving for Bayern this summer, he's going to be even more potent and influential in the attack, as most will be going through him. Directly involved in 39% of Palace's goals during games he played in, and a goal involvement of 0.7 per 90, meaning he's either assisting or on the score sheet more than once every 2 games. He was the 6th best in the whole of the league for shots on target per 90 last season, with 1.48, which will go well towards the new bonus points system. Last midfielder is Rodgers. He made his way into the Villa team at the tail end of the season, starting 7 games in a row from game week 29, scoring 3 goals and getting 1 assist. He has the potential to be one of the breakthrough players this season and has already netted 3 goals in pre-season. At 5 million, he's perfect to have on your bench and bring when Villa have an easy fixture. But if you're unsure about doubling up on the Villa mids, then I have an option I'll talk about later. This does involve a few tweaks. Isak for me is the must-have striker, even above Haaland. At 8.5, he's not crazy expensive, and what he offers at that price is outstanding. Guaranteed goals, first choice striker, penalties, the list goes on. Newcastle start their campaign at home against Southampton, so if you want to go brave, he could even be a captaincy option for game week 1. Salah is the obvious choice, but I wouldn't bet against Isak lighting it up. He scored 21 goals last season and is another player at the top of the shooting stats. 6.83 points per 90 with a goal involvement of 0.99 per 90, so essentially he's getting you a return every game. Chris Wood is a cost-effective one here, just edging the alternative in Muniz at the same price, although Awani could steal some minutes away from him if he's fit. I think he offers more than the likes of Armstrong at 5.5. Wood's more proven in the Premier League for sure, regularly reaching the 10-goal mark. Maybe a streaky player, but is doing well in pre-season. João Pedro is another option at 5.5, but he didn't travel with Brighton on the pre-season tour, so he may be a risk for game week 1. Forest also have some great fixtures to start as well. Their first 3 games are Bournemouth, Southampton and Wolves, and 2 of those are at home. Do we even need to talk about Haaland? 2 golden boots in his first 2 seasons. A relaxed summer, he's going to get points. FPL have done really well with the prices for the premium players, I think. Rising his price to 15 million will force people into a decision. His ownership is only 36% at the time of recording, but I'm sure that will rise as we get closer to the deadline. People will be playing around with their drafts and be thinking about what they could do without him. Lots of people would change their mind about going without him the closer to the start of the season, that's for sure. I mentioned earlier a few tweaks could be made that actually don't drastically change the team, but they offer a slight alternative. Switching Munoz for Anderson to save an extra 0.5 and Rogers for Hudson-Odoi is viable if you'd prefer to go that way. Let's quickly look at how this team could perform in the first 3 weeks. The team has an overall rating of 95%, and again week 1 we've got a rating of 90% on Fantasy Football Hub, with a predicted points total of 64.8, with Salah taking the armband. In game week 2 we've got a rating of 93%, with a predicted points total of 68.9. 2 changes from game week 1, with Sanchez and Robertson coming in for Flekken and Mykolenko. Haaland gets the captaincy against Ipswich for this one. And finally, in game week 3, we have a rating of 93% again. Flekken and Mykolenko come back in for this one, with a predicted points total of 65.3. The front 7 remain unchanged throughout the first 3 game weeks, and Salah is predicted to be the best captain for game week 3 against Man United. He does love playing against them, but there could be a better option. Just looking at the team there, I can see Haaland's playing West Ham. So that's it for the video. Could this be the team that leaves somebody in the top spot after the first few weeks? If you told me I could average over 65 points in the first 3 game weeks, I would snap your hand off. Let me know what you think of the team in the comments below. Check out my latest video here, where I go over some of the best budget defenders, and subscribe for more content throughout the season. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.